Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to a short series about Islamic psychology and Islamic counseling. This short series is to explain what Islamic psychology is about and what Islamic counseling is about so that you have some idea about it. Because in my 3 years work experience as an Islamic counselor, I have noticed that most people have no clue what it actually is. So here I am to explain to you what it is. In this episode, we are talking about what is Islamic counseling. First of all, counseling mostly sounds like it is something for crazy people. And the ideas which are there in the minds of the people is that the counselor is the expert who just gives some guidelines on how to do better, or the counselor says what to do, or that it is like psychoanalysis for crazy people where someone lies on the couch and then the other one just listens and asks all the time, and how do you feel about this? Or, dream interpretation, something like this. But in reality, counseling is just something for everyone. Counseling is not psychotherapy. It is not something for sick people. It is just something for everyone. And I believe that each and every one of us needs some counseling at least once in a lifetime. So the counselor listens, understands, and is non-judgmental. The counselor helps you to define and reach your own goals. And the counselor also wants to help you discovering your full potential. So you see, this has nothing to do with really sick people who are diagnosed with some mental illness or so, but just for everyone. We are explaining what is Islamic psychology in a different video. However, I just want to give you here a short overview about the difference, because this is important to understand what is the difference between Western or conventional counseling and Islamic counseling. So conventional psychology, or Western psychology as we know it, is the scientific study of the behavior of individuals and their mental processes, which is like cognition, emotions, etc. So we have here only the aspects of behavior and mental processes and emotions. And that's all. In Islamic psychology, we have the study of the soul, the ensuing behavioral, emotional, and mental processes, as well as the seen and unseen aspects that influence these elements. And this is according to Dr. Aisha Hamdan from 2011. So you see here that this is the study of the soul. And interesting enough, the psychology actually means the study of the soul in its original meaning. Psyche means soul, and logos or logi is the study of something. So psychology actually is really the study of the soul, or the knowledge of the soul. So we have here the soul as the basis of psychology, which is totally deleted from the conventional psychology. There's no soul there, but in Islamic psychology. And of course, we also have the behavior, emotions, and mental processes, but we also have the seen and unseen aspects. Now, seen aspects are the environment or the DNA, something that you can really see and examine in a proper way. Now, the unseen aspects are aspects like Allah or the angels, faith, Iman, or Jannah and Jahannam. These aspects influence us and they influence our soul, but we cannot really put them into terms of science. If we look at what Islamic counseling is, I would like to take the definition that is done by Professor Hussein Rasool. He's the head professor of the psychology department at Islamic Online University, and one of my professors. So he wrote in his book Islamic Counselling that Islamic counseling is a form of counseling which incorporates spirituality into the therapeutic process. They are not only the conventional methods that are examined according to Quran and Sunnah and either denied or supported by the divine evidence, but also new methods that are derived from the Quran and Sunnah. I think that this explanation is extremely important to understand because there are Muslim psychologists who studied conventional or Western psychology, and they say, well, I just study the Western psychology and then I will look whether it is in line with my religious beliefs or not. And if it's not in line with my religious beliefs, then I will just deny it. And if it is supported by my religious beliefs, then I will just, take it. But the very important point that I forget is that there are new methods derived from the Quran and Sunnah that are brought into the Islamic counseling process, into the therapeutic process. They are forgetting about that, and that is the main reason why another professor, Dr. Malik Badri, who is a professor at the International Islamic University in Malaysia and the father of Islamic psychology, really, why he says that Muslims should not go to Muslim psychologists but to Islamic psychologists, meaning the Islamic psychologists are those who really implement the methods that are derived from the Quran and Sunnah. If we look at the basics of Islamic psychology, I would like to first look at the ethics. I think that is very important to understand because some people don't understand what the process is about and how it is conducted, and can I actually speak about other people, like if I suffer under the treatment, for example, of my husband, or if children suffer the treatment of the mother, can they actually speak out against them, right? Is this possible or not? Is it a sin to not cover the sins of the Muslim sisters and brothers, or is it okay to talk about it? So the first part, the first ethic that is very important in counseling is that man is honored. And this is according to the ayah, and we have certainly honored the children of Adam. The complete counseling process is actually to honor someone. Not only the counselee, the one who seeks the counseling, but also the people around them. The second ethic is the right to live and to the maintenance of life. And this is according to the ayah, and whoever saves one life, it is as if he had saved mankind entirely. The third ethic is equity. This is according to the ayat. Indeed, Allah orders justice and good conduct and giving to relatives, and forbids immorality and bad conduct and oppression. The counselor is not there to ensure justice. For this, they are the judges who ensure the justice. But the good conduct, we can help people to develop a good conduct. We can help overcome immorality and bad conduct, and we can also help victims of oppression. And there we speak about oppression like people who oppress themselves because of their sins, or oppression like domestic abuse or child abuse, or discrimination, racism in the society. We can help people to overcome that and to become strong to bear this and to step out from the comfort zone and to be strong enough to fight against this oppression. The second ayah, which is the basis of equity, is indeed Allah loves those who act justly. And again, we are not there to ensure the justice, but we can help in the process to achieve that. Another ethic is striving to do well or excel in doing things well. And there we are at the point that I said before, that it helps us to discover our full potential. And this concept of ihsan is mentioned in the hadith, verily Allah has prescribed perfection in all things. And this is recorded in the 40 hadith by Imam An-Nawawi. And of course, it also means that the counselor must strive to do well or excel in counseling. So the counselor should not be just someone who says, oh, well, I think that counseling is a very good thing, so I just do it. It requires a lot of knowledge, not only in counseling methods, but also in the Islamic knowledge. So an Islamic counselor has a profound knowledge in both of these areas. And if one of these areas is weak, then the complete counseling will be weak. Another ethic is that no harm may be caused in the counseling. And this also means that no spiritual harm may be caused. The basis for this ethic is the hadith. There is not to be any causing of harm, not is there to be any reciprocation of harm. In the counseling process, there must not be any harm like gossiping or backbiting, of course. But people need to understand that if they speak out against other people, what they did, then this is actually not backbiting, but seeking advice on how to handle that, how to treat that person in order to solve a problem, right? The counselees, they don't come to the counselor to backbite, but to solve a problem, to be strong, to bear the bad conduct of another person, maybe, right? You need to compare the evil of talking bad about others and letting just the violence or the abuse happen, right? If the counselee does not speak about certain issues, the problem will never solve. And therefore, the problem will be worse and worse and worse and worse. And the evil happening there is actually more than talking about certain issues. So we need to look at what is the greater evil or what is the greater benefit. And we need to act according to that. Another ethic is unconditional positive regard. This may be limited in some cases. Unconditional positive regard actually means that whatever the other person does, you just accept what the person is doing. However, as Islamic counselors, if we have Muslim counselees, we cannot accept certain behavior. For example, if it involves evil practices according to Islamic teachings, like drinking alcohol or not praying or not wearing hijab, something like this. What we should do is loving that person unconditionally, understanding that person unconditionally. But we must not accept certain things, which does not mean that the love or the understanding is less. So we may, for example, say, well, if you have problems to wear hijab, I totally understand that if you don't want to wear it, but please try your best to wear it. I just love you, sister. I totally understand your points. I totally understand your problems. But please be strong. I will help you. I'm there for you. I just love you as my sister. And please do your best to wear it. And this is the only thing that we can do, right? We should not put a pressure on them that, you must do it. You must wear the hijab now. And if you don't do it, then you're actually not really a Muslimah or whatever. This is not the correct way. This is not understanding and this is not loving. And the Prophet ﷺ told us to make everything step by step, right? So maybe we tell that sister to first wear hijab only when she goes to the mosque. Then we tell her to wear hijab maybe when she meets with her other hijabi friends, right? And like this, it can grow more and more in her, right? Maybe understand my point. The next ethic is empathy. I don't want to go too much into detail for each and every point that I'm mentioning, but about empathy, it is really interesting to see how the Prophet ﷺ developed this sense of empathy. He lost both his parents before birth or just a few years after. He lost his grandfather. He grew up with his uncle from the age of around about 7. He was really not privileged in that sense that he had a strong family or so. He really, he grew up as an orphan. He really had problems in the beginning of his life. But this gave him the ability to have empathy with those who are not privileged. Now, I'm sure that you have also some problems in your life where you just think, why am I just experiencing this? I mean, where is the purpose of all this? And the only thing that I can tell you is that one is for sure, it teaches you to have empathy with others who have experienced the same thing or a similar thing. And you should use it. You should use this experience wisely, not questioning it, not why, and, questioning Allah's qadr. Don't do that. You have learned something from your experience. You have learned to have empathy with others. So use it wisely. Another ethic is validation. And this is also a part of the unconditional positive regard. Whatever the person feels, whatever the person says, whatever is mentioned in the counseling, the counselee has a reason to say this, and he or she is right. Whatever it is her reality, it is his reality. As a counselor, we need to understand their point of view, the counselee's point of view. And their point of view is always valid. And the last ethic that I want to mention here is the safe space. There's confidentiality. Whatever is said there in that room stays in that room. Whatever is said there just stays there and it's not carried to another person. And I think this is also a very important point when it comes to the question whether it's haram or halal to speak about other people, to speak about the bad conduct of other people, right? It stays there. There's confidentiality. Whatever you say, it just stays right in that room and it does not go out from that room. It is a completely safe space. If we look at the models of Islamic counseling, there are quite a few of models about Islamic counseling, but the maybe most accurate is the one by Dr. Hossein Rasool. He mentions that seeking God's assistance and putting trust in God together with the counseling actually bring the success. These 3 points interact with each other. Now, the counseling process, there are quite a few steps or phases that you go through in counseling. So first of all, you have the awakening and the intention. So you notice that, okay, there's a problem and you need to change that. So you make the intention. And then you go to counseling. You talk about your problem. You talk about your feelings and how it impairs with your life, this problem, etc. So then after some sessions, you get to know what actually your own goal is. Now, the counselor, he helps you find your own goal. And he helps you defining your goal in a way that you can achieve it. And he also gives you a route. So you have the goal and route vision. Then you need to do the real decision. And you need to have absolute trust in God. And you need to act according to your goal and route vision, etc. And then you grow in the counseling process that at the end, the goal will be that you can monitor yourself and that you can evaluate the situation around you and yourself. And you can see the problems yourself, you can see the goals yourself, so you can later on do this process on your own. So you are learning on the example that you're experiencing right now, how to solve problems for the later life. If we look at techniques that are used in Islamic counseling, you have religious and spiritual coping strategies. You have anger management, you have stress management, you have all kinds of coping strategies to manage your negative emotions. And these are recorded in the Quran and Sunnah. We have dhikr, which is remembrance of Allah. We have the salah, which is the prayer. We have dua, which is supplication. We have healing from Quran. And we have ruqya, which is a special spiritual healing. These are all Islamic techniques and methods which are incorporated into the therapeutic process, as we have mentioned in the definition by Dr. Hussein Rasool. Now we are coming back to that point after having understood what Islamic counseling is, for what and whom Islamic counseling is. It is for anyone who seeks guidance, motivation, help, an open ear, assistance to find unreached goals. It reaches from motivation to even help and assistance to find and reach goals. So there's a broad field. And this can be for any concern, including personal development, which is the development of self-worth, confidence, and even to determine what you want to achieve in your life. It can be about parenting, it can be about marital counseling, motivation, life coaching. It can also be about time management or spiritual guidance. Like if you think that your iman is not strong enough, then you can come to the counselor, and with the counselor you can check how to build up your faith again, how to get a strong iman. Or if you are a newcomer in Islam, if you're a revert, then you can overcome the problems that you face with your family, right? Many converts face many problems with their family. They don't know how to get to the point that they can wear hijab. They don't know how to tell their friends. They're afraid of losing their friends. Maybe they're afraid of losing their job, etc. Support during illness, mental or physical. It can be during periods of grief, after losing a beloved one, or even grief after losing a limb, maybe, right? Or grief after leaving your home country. It can be in the concerns of abuse and much, much more. So inshallah, you have now an overview about what Islamic counseling is. If you want to learn more about Islamic counseling or even Islamic psychology, if you want to learn about Islamic parenting or anything, then please visit my page www.mirahmalaika.com. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.